I'm Steve Lockard, Superintendent for Carroll County Public Schools, and this is Report Card on Education. I'm happy today to be joined by two folks from Taneytown Elementary School, Christy Farver, who's the principal at Taneytown Elementary, and Kristen Orapalo, who is a reading specialist at Taneytown Elementary School. Welcome to both of you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Glad you're with us. So our topic today is school improvement. We talk a lot at the system level about how we want to improve and plans and strategic plans for doing that at a system level. But really, that happens each and every day, and most importantly, at the school level. Many folks might not know that all of our schools have school improvement teams with school improvement plans. So today, we want to bring in two experts in this area who have done great work at Taneytown Elementary and find out a little bit more about the school improvement plan process and what that's all about. So let's jump right in. So Christy, let's talk about school improvement plan. So what exactly is a school improvement plan?
So school improvement plan is a roadmap that sets out changes school needs to make. So you're starting off with your county strategic plan. You're looking at where your goals are, what your department school improvement plan is, and then you're spinning your goals off of that in conjunction with your data after you've analyzed and gone through the data to come up with where do the students, where do the staff need to go next.
Thank you, Christy. We know a little bit about what a school improvement plan is. Let's talk about why schools have them and what do school improvement teams do?
Teams have them because it's a team of people working together. You're looking for the collaboration and the continuous improvement and for the entire staff to be, or school community to be represented in order to move things forward. So you have many different perspectives to be able to move a team forward to get at all of the little nuances that happen within, whether it's first grade or kindergarten or the various curriculums such as math, reading, and then behavior.
Yeah, so it's that piece about implementing and translating that plan. So the role of the SIT team members are to help translate that plan across the school and provide new innovative ideas and really look at that data and move forward from there.
You referenced earlier the system strategic plan. We've talked a lot about that. People know that there are 4 big pillars in our system strategic plan. How have you used that? I'm also thinking probably that first pillar that looks at multiple pathways for student success. And we really have some targets in there that get at things that we want our students to achieve. How do you use that, or what other data do you look at when you're figuring out what do we want to focus on here?
So we look at the plan, and one of the things that the plan states is that students by the end of second grade, beginning of third, should be reading on a level O. So at that point, we're taking the data from our students and we're looking at, as far as second grade, where are they, and then what do we need to do? So if they're still at an M, then what measures do we need or strategic actions do we need to put in place to make sure that they're going to achieve an O? That may be in the way of interventions. One intervention that we have at Taneytown that we've been using to help kids is a RISE program, which is an after-school tutoring program. In addition to that, we start looking at where kindergarten is and where first grade is, and how do we backward map there and put in strategic plans into our school improvement plan in order to make sure that those kids are going to hit the marks where they need to be. And then we also look at some of our older students to see, if they were on an O, where would they have been, where would they have been projected, and then what supports or pieces that we need to put in there.
So one thing we actually have weekly are achievement meetings. And at our achievement meetings, we reflect on student data. And specifically in kindergarten, first and second grade, we look at progress monitoring guided reading levels. So we check in and we want to see where the kids are beginning and where they need to be at the end of the year. And then we actually do informal assessments throughout. So by the time we get to that actual assessment time, which is usually in January or later in the spring, we have formalized data that is reflective based on that informal data.
I appreciate you all diving into that a little more. That's a great example of when we look at something systemically where we'd like all our students to be achieving, the answer you provided really shows how a school sort of adapts that larger system goal to the needs that they have, and referencing different levels you're trying to achieve, specific student data, those data meetings where you're meeting with teachers individually and talking about individual student progress. It really shows how a larger system goal can go all the way down to the individual student to help make progress. for the school and for the system. So I appreciate that.
A school improvement team is a diverse group of people. You're looking for a person from each grade level team. You're looking for a parent member. You're looking for, our parent liaison is there as well, special ed, ESOL. So you're looking for representation across the entire school community in order to be able to give their perspective and where they feel or their knowledge as to move the entire school forward, because you want everyone to have that responsibility and that shared leadership and feel a part of that. Because we've found that Tawnytown, the more collaborative the team is, the more success we have. One of our more collaborative teams, our first grade team, works so closely together and does such an amazing job that their data is really where it needs to be. And we're finding more success with that. So we try to put that through our SIT team as well by people that join. The SIT team's open to anybody. They can come at any time, but there are a core member of people that do come on a monthly basis.
So the team meets monthly, and I completely agree. It sounds like you're trying to build collective efficacy within your school. You gave an example of a team that does that really well. The school improvement team or SIT team should function in that same way, where everybody sort of coalesces around some shared goals and some shared work. And the more knowledgeable and understanding and the better people's capacity is built around that, the more likely good results are for students. In a similar fashion, we tried to do the same thing this past year as we built understanding around our system strategic plan by all those meetings that you came to as principals and administrators coming in and unpacking those and making sure that they were understood and well developed across our system. So a lot of times, school improvement team members are wrestling with issues around change. Maybe it's a change in practice. Maybe it's a change in approach, a change in culture. I'm sure there has to be some understanding about the change process. What does the SIT team need to know about the change process?
I think that it's ever evolving. So it's constantly changing. Once we've kind of targeted something that we've needed to focus on, what we do is it's now become part of who we are as a school. And the expectation is there that that's going to continue. And then we pick up new goals. So it's continued growth. And for example, writing has been a focus for us the past couple of years and been a strength. And so what we've done from that is we've looked more specifically in improving informational writing. And then we started targeting narrative writing when we saw that as a need because informational showed more strength. And now we're even getting more fine-tuned by looking at word choice. So we have our rubrics are ideas, organization, word choice, and conventions. And we've done really well with ideas and organization over the past couple of years in creating a structure, but now our targeted focus has been word choice. So we've been more specific with our data.
We've come a long way from when I started at Tawnytown in 2014-15, where at that point we were just establishing foundations, we were just establishing and trying to increase sight words, and we weren't as far, or even just an ELA committee. So as we've evolved and changed, we have really gotten to the point where we are progress monitoring, we are looking at our data to be able to change and move our students forward.
Be more specific.
Right. And that's great. I'm glad you illustrated that whole growth mindset component, because we work with children. There's variables to human behavior. And so not everybody presents exactly the same. If it were as easy as if we just do 1, 2, and 3, we'll get these results. There's always variables to that. And there's always the need. Our teachers do a great job of being able to assess and diagnose and think, okay, what do I need to do to help this student achieve, to help them reach the goals that we have for them? And so having that growth mindset, understanding that, look, we don't want to just change for change's sake, but we have to respond and adapt to what kids' needs are, is a really important mindset to have. And so I appreciate you sharing that. So what do you think in your work on school improvement teams over the last many years, what is it that makes a school improvement team truly effective?
I think it's the leadership, the administration team, giving the rest of the team members the authority to make decisions. It's that collaboration, having group norms, effective communication skills, and then checking and reflecting back. It goes back to, and weaves into the process of you're setting your goals, you're implementing them, you're monitoring them, and then you're making any changes. But you have to do that as a group, as a collaborative effort, because everybody brings something a little different. And if you miss something, then that can impact your process and slow you down. So if you start to take everybody's ideas into consideration and really move forward, you tend to move a lot faster. Takes a little longer, but you move a lot faster.
Very good. Well, I think those same attributes would be true of any effective team, as we're constantly kind of looking for improvement. Gone are the days when we might set some goals and then come back to them following year. And we used to call that autopsy data. It's too late to do anything now. So that ongoing monitoring, that ongoing sort of check or assessment on how are we doing, and if we're not doing what we'd like to do or we're not where we would like to be, then what are we going to do? We only have so much time with our students, and so it goes quickly. And so we have to be making those constant adjustments. Very similar to how you described at a system level. That's why we built in these sort of year-long checks on parts of our system strategic plan. We're not going to wait a full year to let something go by before we come back to it. We're going to be checking in and taking a look and keep that process kind of iterative moving forward. So let's talk about the SIT plan itself. For our listeners out there, what might I find in a school improvement plan? What's the process to create that?
So typically at the end of a school year, we reflect on data. We look at our benchmarks. We have a comprehension benchmark assessment, math benchmark assessment. We discuss strengths and needs as a result of our end of year data. From there, we actually reflect on the county strategic actions and county department goals. And we do that when we join together for our summer SIT. And then from there, we actually also reflect on our previous year's SIT plan in order to decide what did we do well, what was something maybe we were still in progress on, or what was something that we didn't get a chance to visit, but maybe need to relook at. And then we take all of those pieces, the end of year data, the county strategic action plan and department goals, and the previous SIT plan strategic actions, put all that together, synthesize it all, and we use that to determine what are our next steps for this upcoming year. So it's a lot of combining different elements in order to decide what's best for our school.
I know some of our schools sometimes incorporate goals around culture and climate, and we want to gauge that and look at that because that really drives a lot of what happens, well, just about everything that happens in a school. Have you all ever looked at components of culture, climate in your school improvement team discussions?
So we do go through the surveys. We're also constantly meeting. We meet with different team groups. So like in addition to just our SIT meetings, we have committee meetings, so ELA and math, and we have a social and emotional group and PBIS team, also to kind of take a temperature of that, see what's going on, and to kind of head off or look to see what could become a concern or an issue before that happens. And we can promote more, again, family involvement and student involvement for that.
Parent involvement is definitely key. We actually have a lot of nights and committees that involve parents, and we always receive feedback from those nights and then make changes, or what do parents want to see, or what do they want to be included. So those are definitely specific. And we have the Judy Center as well, which the Judy Center, they do specific nights. Those are for kids that are early childhood prior to kindergarten, typically before pre-K. So they're reaching out and bringing parents in and doing activities with them as well and keeping them involved.
We also have our ETM committee, our Education That's Multicultural committee. They've been working with the staff. They do the faculty meetings for us, and they use the book, You Won't Go Where You Won't Lead. Been working to build some of the culture and the climate through that as well. And that consists of our school guidance counselor, our school psychologist, and various teachers and supports as well. So, and they do that all on their own time.
Fantastic. Thank you for sharing those examples. I really appreciate the opportunity to have conversation today. What you've described actually happens in all of our schools. So if you're listening out there and you have children in our school system and you're not exactly sure what the school improvement plan might be or who the team members are, check in with your school administrator to see that plan or ask to see it. Get involved in your school improvement planning process. It is a great way to see how our system looks at broader systemic goals, schools then adopt to meet their needs, right down, as you heard today, to individual students meeting their goals and the achievement that we're looking for from all of our students. And I couldn't be more proud of the things that are happening at Taneytown Elementary for our students and our school community there. So Kristen and Christy, thank you so much for joining me today.
Thank you. Thank you.
Once again, our guests today have been the principal of Taneytown Elementary School, Christy Farver, as well as the reading specialist and school improvement team co-chair, Kristen Oropalo. I'm Steve Lockard, Superintendent for Carroll County Public Schools, and this is Report Card on Education.